On 30th of August was my driving test. 1st of September, I was flying out for family holiday. 9th of September, I was starting apprenticeship. She's given my younger sister like a motivational talk. You know,
Motivational talk as in a telling off.
I'm trying to be soft. That's how I do stuff. I cannot do something just because I do it. No, when I do something, I'll actually put my effort and time into actually doing this.
Hello, and today on SGTV, I am joined in the studio with Fabian Maciejewski, who we've had on the show before, where we've been speaking to him when he was doing work experience.
Right.
You are now on an accelerated apprenticeship with East Goscott Electrical. Again, that's someone else we filmed with before. We've gone out and filmed with those guys on site, and it's great to see someone like yourself has been snapped up and gained yourself an apprenticeship with that company. And I'm pleased for you because when we first met you, you came to the studio as I just said, as a learner doing work experience. You and how many of you were there? Was it 4 or 5?
4. And
it was very clear, not just to myself, but for those who were here, I thought quite an impressive, determined, straight-laced kind of lad. I'm not trying to butter you up or anything like that. But it's true, I think that sort of came across very easily to us. And I do remember saying, you know, I said off camera, I said, like, if anyone's looking for an apprentice, I'd be tapping up that guy immediately. I would not let that guy be slipping through my fingers. But Fabian, I want to talk to you from your perspective about your sort of mindset. So what is it do you think that makes you different compared to other young learners?
my fear boundaries are much further than everybody else's. By fear, I mean a lot of people will fear to put themselves out, contact people, talk to people. Whereas myself, let's say I was to enter this room and you wouldn't see me standing in the corner. I wouldn't stand in the shadow. No, I need to have all lights on me. And I would come around and introduce myself and everything. No, that sounds a bit hilarious, but no, I like to show that I am present. I do like to put myself out. I know how to sell myself, how to present myself, and most important, this is my way of being. I'm not becoming a different person all of a sudden because I'm surrounded by people. No, this is the way I am, and I like this about myself. I must admit.
There's nothing wrong with that. I think there's a difference between cocky and confident, and I don't think you come across as cocky. I think it is just you enjoy challenging yourself and putting yourself in uncomfortable, which may seem comfortable to you, but uncomfortable circumstances to get your brand across to people.
Yeah.
And one thing that I found quite interesting is when we were contacting Fabian about coming in to film with us in the studio, we were sending him dates, and he said, "Oh, if we do it by this date, I'd have passed my driving test by then." And I actually sat back and thought, okay, he hasn't said, "Oh, could we do it on this date because I'll hopefully have passed my driving test." No, it was, "I will have passed my driving test by then." So that date is here. Have you passed your driving test?
I have.
There we go. Round of applause for Fabian. First time?
Yes, first time, only 2 driving faults.
So it's been a busy summer for you then, a busy year. So when did we see you? Was that last year, November time, November 2023?
Last year November, that's right, yeah.
So we're at the time of filming this, we are end of September 2024. So less than a year, you've been out to St Lucia to do work experience. We've done an episode on that, but you mentioned something in that episode about when you got onto site, how, first of all, because of lack of communication, they were just going to put you on labouring. So what did you do to overhaul that?
Well, I've spent 30 minutes on site and we were doing groundworks. And it's been, I think it was 8:30 in the morning we actually started. So by 9 o'clock I said, no, I'm actually fed up of doing this. I am a T-level learner and I'm doing electrical work. This isn't my cup of tea. I shouldn't be doing this because they told me I'm coming to do electrical work. So I found whoever seemed to be the most bossy to me, I would say. And I approached them and was like, look, we're coming for work experience. I've introduced my two other mates and etc. And I showed them, look, I'm in a skill electric. It's a national competition. It's not like in college, like in-house. No, it's a national competition. I'm taking part in this. This is my way. And I showed them, because I do have a picture of the rig that I built, of my installation. Okay, nice sort of nod. Told a little bit exaggerate about the guys, because they couldn't prove anything. It was like, no, one of them worked on hospitals, in prisons and etc. So he does know what he's doing. And then one of the last lad, he was on site. He had a lot of actual work experience behind him, because as soon as he started, because he had mutual friends, his family friends somebody had a company. He was self-employed, so he took him on, and just stuck around. And I've asked him the other day, so how long have you been in? Oh, like 2 years. And I've been working 3 days with him a week. I got paid, okay, I used to do Thursdays and Fridays and Saturdays, because that's what I used to do. Fair enough, so you had loads of experience. So I've also mentioned this to the guy in St. Lucia, and immediately he's pulled his phone out, started ringing people up, because they had a few different firms that were contracting to do the electrical work. And all of a sudden, we changed the work environment from working, like doing groundworks, to actually doing the wiring. And what was nice is when we were doing the groundworks, they gave us a wheelbarrow. They gave us some basic tools, like a pickaxe in case we come across a rock or something. And we've been dragged away from this. And don't get me wrong, clean environment. We had people, all of a sudden we had a site induction, because of this electrical work and stuff. Different kind of approach. But yeah, I believe my confidence takes me places, if that's what you're asking for as well.
No, exactly, yeah. And again, that's not to say all this work is beneath me. It was a miscommunication. You'd gone there to do electrical work. Through whatever reason, that got lost and you ended up being put in the wrong sector. A lot of people would have just carried on and done 2 weeks. They'd have come back, employer or college or whoever, be like, so what have you learned? Oh, they put us in the ditch. And what, you didn't ask? Oh, no. But you did, you went over and politely...
I told myself, look, even if we're about to phone Tony, so the person who sent us for the work experience, St. Lucia is a few hours ahead or few hours... I'm not entirely sure.
Back, a few hours
I think 5 hours it is. So there's no time. If I'll have to work whole day to get in touch with Tony, the person from Ireland, Europe, to try to sort this out, I'm just going to do it myself. And I did. Even another example is I went for my apprenticeship interview. And
is that with East Glasgow?
That's right, yes. Okay. And they've asked me, what are your plans in case East Glasgow doesn't take you on for the apprenticeship? And I confidently said, look, I am taking part in a scholarship competition. I am most likely, that time I weren't sure if I will, but I said most likely I will end up in finals. And that's going to be my golden ticket for the apprenticeship. There's only 8 of us in finals, so if I even become finalist, not necessarily take a podium place, that's my golden ticket. I can safely write on a CV, I've been a finalist at 2024 Scholarship competition. And
again, we've done an episode covering the skill electric, so right. We'll put a link for that one in the description. What do you think gives you such a positive mindset?
I want to enjoy my life. I want to live life stress-free. Stress will come, but I am pretty good at managing my stress level. So I will often, when I have some spare time, I often sit down and reconsider or think, but not overthink. Whatever, any sort of bad situation that I come across I'll try to take a lesson out of it. I do like to take my time and actually plan and set myself own goals. You often hear people saying, oh yeah, I set my own goals, but they actually don't. I do, I can tell, I do. I do set my own goals and I tell myself, right, if I want to accomplish this will have its side effects, like bad effects. This is going to affect few other bits. So like with my driving license, nobody ever told me that I'm going to lose my apprenticeship. However, I told myself on 30th of August was my driving test. 1st of September, I was flying out for family holiday. 9th of September, I was starting apprenticeship. And I told myself, right, I live in the city centre of Leicester. Office is in East Goscote, that's a bit of a drive. Check the buses. No, there's no way I'm going to get there by the bus because I'm going to have to leave my house by 6. So I told myself, I need to pass this. I went and I passed. And I couldn't handle anything that would potentially make me fail.
So it's clear goals, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the fastest way to get to a goal from A to B is a straight line. But it's not just a case of hitting A to get in that straight line. You've got to sit back. You've got to plan it. You've got to think about how to get there. But all that, it's still going to make you get from A to B quicker because you've planned that route efficiently. What do you think gives you that drive? Is there a fear of failure? Is there a bigger goal in mind? What is it that drives you?
No. Funny enough, if I ever failed on something, it would have been the easiest part. I have the other week. I have failed ECS card test. Okay, that's been chucked at me. But then I told myself, right, I'm not going to fail the second time, and I got 49 out of 50. That was only a few days after. So I've had the revision book with me when been going through the questions, found some mock tests on Google and been doing that as well. Some random websites that were just providing any, and I kept on revising whatever was difficult and like a tricky question. I would take a picture of it and just flick through it whenever I had time. Remembered it, 49 out of 50. And the 50th, the one question that I failed was because I've actually changed my answer. The answer I've put, the answer that was primarily was the right answer, but then I don't think it's that one. And
still not a bad score.
I failed my theory for the actually.
Your driving theory.
Yeah. I failed it the very first time. Again, I missed 1 mark to actually pass it, and I must admit, it put me off for quite some time. But then I got back on it, passed it.
Yeah, I think for me especially, whatever my goal is, whether that's personal, professional, even stuff in the gym or jobs around the house, I actually like failing because I'm constantly setting myself goals, and a lot of them I'll fail, but I still gained much more than what I started with. And I see people who are like, don't fail at anything. I'm like, well, you're not setting yourself tough enough goals.
Well, the way I see it is, it's better to fail, but take something off it, don't do nothing.
Yeah, someone failing is achieving more than someone not trying, in my opinion. So you're 3 weeks at the time of filming this. You're 3 weeks into your apprenticeship, and I'm guessing you've got the goal of becoming a fully qualified electrician who can go out and do jobs on their own with East Goscote, where they can say, right, yep, we trust you. You're qualified. You're experienced. Go do whatever needs doing. But obviously, as we said, you're 3 weeks into that. That's a way off yet. And you've told me that you had I think a forklift job before you took that job, but you took a pay cut to go onto this apprenticeship. So how do you balance that patience where you know you've got this long-term goal, there's going to be short-term sacrifices, I need to be patient. How do you keep that in check? Because we've spoke before on another episode how I think it might have been you who said you've got friends who have dropped off, who have gone and found different jobs because they're paying right now, which might be more than what you're on currently, but give it a few years, you're going to be on a lot more.
Yeah.
And that is tempting. That is a tempting thing to go for. So what's keeping you on track?
I told myself that if I cut off by not buying a few bottles of fragrance in a year and not buying myself some fancy clothes and stuff, I'll be alright. Most important now, obviously, keeping the car and everything. Thinking future-wise, I'm not going to have that problem, am I? Whereas if I was to be, let's say, 30 grand a year now, I'll be living my life because I'm on my own. But in 5-10 years time, when I have kids and mortgage and everything, I'll be like,
it's a stretch.
It's a stretch. And then you're going to have the inflation. Usually if you earning the minimum wage, they don't tend to give big pay rises. So I think that's what's driving me also, and keeping me conscious of my financial state.
Do you think your background has had any impact on that? Because you said you moved to the UK when you was 10, 11 years old. So do you think stepping out of your comfort zone, leaving your home, that kind of thing, coming to a different country, which is a challenge in itself, do you think that's impacted your mindset?
Well, my parents were in their 30s when they left their country, our country, and they came to England. Whenever I asked my mum, what made you leave your home country? Because I wanted to give you guys a better opportunity, to me and my siblings. So I think, as easy as this might sound, I'm trying to kind of fulfill my mum by doing what I'm doing. They say in each job, in each profession, there are money, but then I can safely say that I like what I'm doing. I like physical job. A lot of people don't. I think I would go mental if I was to sit by the desk and do work remotely. I cannot do that. And with that come money as well, because people those days, they become very comfortable. People don't really want to do physical job. They are scared of it. Well, I'm not. And I think that's where the money is as well.
I like that answer, that your parents have made a sacrifice.
Yeah, they made a sacrifice
for you.
I'm trying to pay it off to them.
Exactly.
Because they'll be fulfilled by saying, okay, I gave them an opportunity, they haven't wasted it.
Yeah, it'd be quite the insult for them to say, right, we've moved us out of our comfort zone, out of our country and home, we've gone somewhere else, and we've done that for you, and you squandered it. That would be quite insulting.
That's it, yeah.
I'd ground you for life. Be like, right, clean the house. You're not going out.
No, yeah. Obviously, me being in the age of 10, when I left my home country, it's easier to adapt. Like my mom, she has been living in UK for 10 years, and she doesn't speak good English, and so it still sort of seems like she's living outside her comfort zone for a decade now. But then, whenever I come by for a cup of coffee or even dinner, she often says, like, whatever you have in you, I like how it's driving you through life, because you won't have like a mental breakdown when you fail, whatever. I was like, no, because you went outside your comfort zone 10 years ago, and you're still outside of your comfort zone, because I can't tell.
Lead by example.
You've adapted yourself, but you still don't live you can't live your life fully, can you? Because you will still rely either on me or my sisters in some cases when you need help. And I want to pay it back to you. I want to see that, okay, you're living outside your comfort zone. You could technically go back to Poland if you wish to, but you still chose to. I was like, no, because I got you guys over here. So how am I gonna live in Poland on my own? I was like, yeah, but you could do. She's like, yes, I could do, but I chose not to, because I'd rather see you guys getting mature and going through your lives happily and achieving whether it's qualifications or traveling, whatever you accomplish, I'll be happy to be by your side and actually looking at you. So this is what's driving me. I want my mom to be proud of me. I'm also the eldest from my all siblings, so
I'm sure she is. If she's watching this and listening to what you're saying, I'm sure she would be. I know I would be.
Thank you.
No, it's a credit to your parents, and as I said, first time we met, it was clear that you'd got a good mentality and determined drive, and that's the reason why people like East Gosket are going to have picked you up. That's the reason why you're ending up in St Lucia, Skill Electrics, all these places, and probably many more places to go. But you still got to come do my house. We spoke about this for free, by the way.
When I get qualified.
Don't worry about that. It's ready. It needs doing now.
No, I like to influence people as well. My mom would often even refer to me when she's given my younger sister like a motivational talk.
Motivational talk as in a telling off.
I'm trying to be soft. My girlfriend, she's often referring to me as well. Yeah, but you can't do this. Like, look, but this is how I approach stuff. And she will often sit down like, yes, and this is not only me just saying something. There is proof behind it that I tried, I've put effort into, and I've accomplished. So it is your own choice whether you want to or not, because I believe it's as simple as not even making any sacrifices. Sometimes accomplishing something is as simple as saying, I want to, yeah, I'm going to do it. And you do it. You put your head down and you do it. Whether it takes you 3, 5, 10 times to actually accomplish it, but you're doing something towards it. It's as difficult as going to the gym. New year comes, new year, new me. But then people actually try. They at least try. Instead of saying, okay, next summer I'll be ripped. Yeah, but they don't even buy the gym membership.
Yeah, I used to, going off topic, I used to laugh at people who'd be like, right, January I'm starting, whereas fair play to them. It takes courage, it takes a step to do it.
Especially that we live the world in, that people are driven by what they see on the internet. So they will see all the influencers as well. And it won't affect me, but I know that there is a lot of people out there that will feel the self-esteem will be very low because they see all of them fit people on TikTok, Instagram, and etc. Yeah, but then they get paid for doing this. Why? Why would you take somebody as a reference point? And that's my thing as well. I do not take other people as reference point because people would compare themselves against somebody else. I don't do that.
So what about how that transfers onto site? So how are you finding your mindset is when you're on site? Are you still able to look at people who are more experienced than you on site and think, actually, I should mirror what they're doing in some ways. I should pick up on the techniques, the skills, the attitude. Mm-hmm. Is that something you're still constantly focused on?
I keep staying open. I'm open-minded throughout the whole day, and I always try to take something out of what people show me, because what it is, if a training is being delivered to 10 people, each one of these persons is going to have a different interpretation. So if we were on the same course, and I was asked to explain something to another person, and then you were to do it, you would explain it differently than I would. So when I go out on site, and I tend to do solar PV recently, people have different techniques of doing it, and then I combine all this, and I try to pick up the points that are the best too. And then I would often go and even come up with an idea. Why don't we try doing this that way? Let's say when you do solar PV, and is the one that is inbuilt to the roof, not the retrofit. You have, obviously you measure, mark out, install the panels, and then put the flash in. But then you can do one panel, some flashing, second panel, finish off the flashing of the first panel, and build up some flashing around the second one, and you can do this. But I figured that it takes me out of pace, so I'd rather put on 5 panels within an hour and 30 minutes, and then play with the flashing, because it's easier. And that's something that I've picked up after working with 3 different people, because each one of them had a different technique of doing it. So again, this is just me.
Do you find you're ever nipping at the heels of people above you, catching up with people more experienced than you? Or do you think, yeah, I've still got a lot to learn?
I often come across comments from people, no, he's keen. And obviously very first few days that I've been, you would hear people ask, how am I doing, whether I'm any good and stuff. And I've genuinely not had any bad comment about myself, which is obviously something that I want to hear. This is what drives me as well.
Can you take negative, creative criticism?
Yeah, 100%.
Constructive criticism.
I am very strict to myself. I can do stuff, but I will not do it the easiest way. I like to put my effort into it and make sure it is the best possible quality that I can do. Give everything out of myself. That's how I do stuff. I cannot do something just because I do it. No, when I do something, I'll actually put my effort and time into actually doing this.
So what would you say to anyone watching this, but most particularly young people or people who just maybe aren't confident at putting themselves out there, who want to get noticed, who want to get noticed by employers, lecturers, clients, any of that kind of thing? What would be your words of wisdom to them?
First thing, be yourself. Do not compare yourself against others, because everybody is different in a good way. Always give best out of yourself and try to be at your best. However, there's always room for improvement. That's how I see it. Even if you were to ask me something that I've just finished doing, any sort of installation, and you were an hour straight, I would say it's about 8 or 9. Why would you say isn't it 10? Because there's always room for improvement. In 10 years' time, I'll do it better. But in another 10 years' time, I will do it even better. So that's, you will keep, I believe that people keep learning throughout their whole life. If somebody's lifespan was 80 years, they keep learning. They keep learning and they keep learning. There's always stuff to learn. Stay open-minded. That's another thing that people should do. Stay open-minded and be ready to take criticism, because whether we want or not, we'll come through. We'll have to go through it. People will criticize you. It happens, right? They criticize you, but again, it's down to interpretation. Some people will take criticism as, oh my God, what have I done? Why am I being criticized? Some people will give you criticism because you might need it. It might be constructive criticism, because what they try to do is give you feedback. Criticism, again, people interpret that word differently. I take criticism as a feedback, bad feedback, unfortunately.
I think that's the important thing. That's something I got taught very early on. Doesn't matter what you're doing, especially from people that are more experienced than you and people around you. If they're giving you constructive criticism, it's nothing personal. Mm-hmm. You might get someone who can be mean about it, and they're probably not handling it the best they could. But giving people constructive criticism is an important thing, and being able to receive that and not take it personally and actually turn that around into a positive is something I think everyone, no matter what industry, what trade you're in, should be taking that on board massively. Yeah. But as we say, it's nothing personal. Most people can just see potential in someone, think, you're doing a great job at that, could be better if you did this. This is how you do it.
And this is constructive criticism. You're doing a good job, however, and that however is when the constructive criticism starts. It's nothing bad, it's just a feedback. As long as it comes from a person that has actually a reason to give you a constructive criticism, it's okay. People are seeing it bad, which is really not the right thing to do.
I think, Fabian, that brings us to the end of this episode. But I want to thank you for coming on the show and giving us your experience. It's been inspiring to listen to someone like yourself talk about your mindset and your goals and what's driving you to do this. And as we said, you're 3 weeks into your apprenticeship. Last time we saw you, you was a mile behind that.
Oh yeah.
So it'd be amazing to see where you are from a year from now, 2 years from now. And I wish you all the best. We have got more episodes featuring Fabian and also Neil, where we've been talking about various subjects. Not only that though, there's loads of different episodes on loads of different subjects on the channel, so make sure you subscribe. If you don't, I'm going to be very disappointed in every single one of you. But Fabian, thank you very much, and we'll see you in the next one.